Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jaykop. Welcome back to Half-Life 2. Oh shit, there's a little... Could that be Lamar? Huh. Half-Life 2, Episode 2. This time it's Part 4. Let's load the game.
Hold on a moment, Kleiner. Ah, Freeman. Well, I see the Magnuson device performed flawlessly.
And I pulled it off.
I feel
So forgive me now.
to thank you personally
Good.
for saving my rocket.
Good.
So,
You forgive me?
well, that's enough chit-chat.
That was fucking hard for you
I've
to
got
say.
a rocket to launch.
Wow. For a minute there, I thought you were gonna get a hug.
Sorry, I'm eating a bun right now.
Well, here we are again.
Yes, this just feels like old times, huh?
While you were out having fun, I found an old helicopter that I was able to get working.
Yeah? The one
I've
that's
got it
gonna
all
send us
packed
to
up
the
and ready to
Arctic?
go. Never a dull moment, huh?
Oh, here we go.
Approximately 8.5 pounds.
Well, that's within tolerance. Certainly not worth scuttling.
At last.
Yay!
Well, I think perhaps Gordon had something to do with their success.
I suggest we adjourn this meeting of the Mutual Admiration Society until after
Hopefully-
we have launched our rocket. Now, I believe we're ready to start the auto sequence.
Alright,
Gordon should have the honor.
let's fucking
Oh,
go.
there, no objection from me.
Alright,
It's all yours, Gordon.
this is just like Half-Life 1, huh? Alright. Launch that mofo. I am excited.
Steady on.
But-
T-minus 10.
But I didn't pay attention to what they were saying like previously. What is this rocket gonna do?
We did it!
We sure did.
Alright. Well, what is that rocket gonna do exactly? Like, I probably didn't hear it before, but...
Too early to celebrate. We need to reach altitude and transmit the signal.
Too right. The clock is ticking.
We couldn't have cut it any closer. if that
Am I
was
gonna
our
do
intention.
something?
I'd like a better view of the fireworks.
There should be quite a show.
Aren't you gonna see us off?
Just as soon as this is wrapped up, I wouldn't dream of letting you go without a proper goodbye.
Okay, I'll hold you to that.
Well,
You
what?
too, Dr. Magnuson.
Indeed.
Alright, well, I guess we're gonna go out now.
Gordon, hold up a
Dog,
second.
there you are.
The more I think about that warning from our friend, the more I'm convinced it has to do with Borealis. Don't be deceived. That ship must never be used. You have got to destroy it. Gordon, thanks for everything you've done. For Alex, for all of us. I couldn't be prouder if you were my own son.
Hey,
When you
hey.
get back, we've got a lot to talk about.
Wink, wink. Wink, wink. Whoa, whoa! Whoa.
We did it! We did it, Gordon!
We sure as hell did, and not a moment too soon.
I'll bet the Combine aren't too happy right now.
Yeah,
That's right, sweetheart.
most likely.
But we've got plenty to celebrate.
Alright, let's celebrate.
We shouldn't
Great.
have to head off so
Well, well, well.
Hey, where are you?
Uh-oh. Doggy boy is doing
Don't go
something.
too far.
I don't know what it is.
in contact.
Oh.
We have no idea.
Oh.
what to expect.
That's the helicopter that sends us to the Arctic, right?
Come on, Gordon. The chopper's waiting for us.
Yeah, let's go. Before anything fucking retarded happens. Alright. Whoa, oh no. What? I can't see anything. Oh, no, no. No. Why can't we... Why can't I go up? No. Hey. I can't move. I can't jump.
Dad!
No. Oh, it's a fucking advisor. No. No. Fucking... Oh my god. Just run away. Eli, run away. Just run away. You have all the time in the world.
I love you, sweetheart. Close your eyes, honey.
I love you, Dad!
Don't look.
No!
No, come on. What? No! No!
Gordon!
It penetrated him with his penis tongue. Oh god. Whoa. What? Oh, dog is here. Came and rescued us. That's right, you fucking got what you deserved, you little shit. Oh my fucking god.
Dad!
Still can't move.
Oh my god.
No! 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 No!
Oh my god.
For fuck's sake!
Don't leave me.
Oh my fucking god. You fucking little shit, Valve! Motherfuck you, Gabe! Fuck you! That cliffhanger, though. Well, holy shit. I guess that's the end of that. We successfully sent the rocket to neutralize the portal. And then we most likely were gonna go to the Arctic afterwards. Well, I guess it's time to read episode 3, because we can actually do that. What was it called? Epistle 3. So this is the actual Marc Laidlaw blog post that originated from August 25th. It's August 28th right now, as I'm recording this, of course. Alright, so the story is, Dearest Playa, I hope this letter finds you well. I can hear your complaint already. Gertie Freeman, which is Gordon Freeman, I can presume. We have not heard from you in ages. Well, if you care to hear excuses, I have plenty. The greatest of them being I've been in other dimensions and whatnot, unable to reach you by the usual means. This wasn't the case until 18 months ago, when I experienced a critical change in my circumstances, and was redeposited on these shores. In the time since, I have been able to think occasionally about how best to describe the intervening years, my years of silence. I do first apologize for the wait, and that done, hasten to finally explain, albeit briefly, quickly, and in very little detail, events following those described in my previous letter, referred to as herewith Epistle 2. To begin with, as you may recall from the closing paragraphs of my previous missive, the death of Ellie Vaunt, which is Eli Vance, shook us all. The research and rebellion team was traumatized, unable to be sure how much of our plan might be compromised, and whether it made any sense to go on at all as we had intended. And yet, once Ellie had been buried, we found the strength and courage to regroup. It was the strong belief of her brave son, the feisty Alex Vaunt, yeah, you can pretty much make out what that is, who that is, that we should continue on as his mother had wished. Alright, so what I can make out from this, genders have been swapped, and names have been changed. But why though? And kind of, Epistle 3 just kind of reminds me of, like, Snoop Dogg language, you know, and Dearest Playa, Epistle 3. I wonder if he took any inspiration from Snoop Dogg. We had the Antarctic coordinates, transmitted by Ellie's longtime assistant, Dr. Jerry Moss. Or, I think, Dr. Judith Mossman, right? Which we believe to mark the location of the lost luxury liner, Hyperborea. So that's the Borealis, right? Luxury liner. What the fuck? Ellie had strongly felt that the Hyperborea should be destroyed, rather than allowed to fall into the hands of the Disparate. Is that the Combine? Others on our team disagreed, believing that the Hyperborea might hold the secret to the revolution's success. Either way, the arguments were moot until we found the vessel. Therefore, immediately after the service of Dr. Vaunt, Alex and I boarded a seaplane and set off to the Antarctic. A much larger support team, Militia, was to follow by separate transport. It is still unclear to me exactly what brought down our little aircraft. The following hours spent traversing in the frigid waste in a blizzard are also a jumbled blur, ill-remembered and poorly defined. The next thing I clearly recall is our final approach to the coordinates Dr. Moss had provided, and where we were expected to find the Hyperborea. What we found instead was a complex fortified installation showing all the hallmarks of a sinister Disparate technology. It surrounded a large open field of ice. Of the Hypnos itself there was no sign, or not at first, but as we stealthily infiltrated the Disparate installation, we noticed a recurrent, strangely coherent auroral effect as of a vast hologram fading in and out of view. This bizarre phenomenon initially seemed an effect caused by an immense Disparate lensing system. Alex and I soon realized that we were actually seeing the luxury liner Hyperborea itself, phasing in and out of existence at the focus of the Disparate devices. The aliens had erected their compound to study and seize the ship whenever it materialized. What Dr. Moss had provided were not coordinates for where the sub was located, but instead for where it was predicted to arrive. The liner was oscillating in and out of our reality. Its pulses were gradually steadying, but there was no guarantee it would settle into place for long, or at all. We determined that we must put ourselves into position to board it at the instant it became completely physical. At this point, we were briefly detained, not captured by the Disparate, as we feared at first, but by minions of our former nemesis, the conniving and duplicitous Wanda Bree. Wanda Bree, wow. Yeah, alright, that's Wallace Breen. Dr. Bree was not as we had last seen her, which is to say, she was not dead. At some point, the Disparate had saved out an earlier version of her consciousness, and upon her physical demise, they had imprinted the backup personality into a biological blank, resembling an enormous slug. The Bree slug, despite occupying a position of relative power in the Disparate hierarchy, seemed nervous and frightened of me in particular. Wanda did not know how her previous incarnation, the original Dr. Bree, had died. She knew only that I was responsible, therefore the slug treated us with great caution. Still, she soon confessed, never able to be quiet for long, that she was herself a prisoner of the Disparate. She took no pleasure from her current grotesque existence and pleaded with us to end her life. Alex believed that a quick death was more than Wanda Bree deserved, but for my part, I felt a modicum of pity and compassion. Out of Alex's sight, I might have done something to hasten the slug's demise before we proceeded. So basically, Dr. Breen fell to his death in Half-Life 2, and his mind basically was put inside an advisor. So Breen is dead. Breen got killed because he hates his existence and whatnot. So let's continue. Not far from when we had been detained by Dr. Bree, we found Jerry Moz being held in a Disparate interrogation cell. Things were tense between Jerry and Alex, as might be imagined. Alex blamed Jerry for his mother's death, news of which Jerry was devastated to hear for the first time. Jerry tried to convince Alex that he had been a double agent, serving the Resistance all along, doing only what Ellie had asked of him, even though he knew it meant he risked being seen by his peers, by all of us, as a traitor. I was convinced, Alex less so, but from a pragmatic standpoint, we depended on Dr. Moz, for along with the Hyperborea coordinates, he possessed resonance keys, which would be necessary to bring the liner fully into our plane of existence. We skirmished with Disparate soldiers, protecting a Dispar research post. Then, Dr. Moss attuned the Hyperborea to precisely the frequencies needed to bring it into brief coherence. In the short time available to us, we scrambled aboard the ship, with an unknown number of Disparate agents close behind. The ship cohered for only a short time, and then its oscillations, I don't know how to say that word, sorry for that, resume. It was too late for our own military support, which arrived and joined the Disparate forces in battle just as we were bounded between universes, once again unmoored. What happened next is even harder to explain. Alex Vaught, Dr. Moss, and myself sought control of the ship, its power source, its control room, its navigation center. The liner's history proved non-linear. Years before, during the Disparate's invasion, various members of an earlier science team, working in the hull of a dry dock liner situated at the Toscan Island Research Base in Lake Huron, so that must be Aperture Science, had assembled what they called the bootstrap device. If it worked as intended, it would emit a large field enough to surround the ship. This field would then itself travel instantaneously to any chosen destination, without having to cover the intervening space. There was no need for entry or exit portals, or any other devices. It was entirely self-contained. Unfortunately, the device had never been tested. As the Disparate pushed Earth into the 9-hour Armageddon, which is the 7-hour war, I think, the aliens seized control of our most important research facilities. The staff of the Hyperborea, with no other wish than to keep the ship out of the Disparate hands, acted in desperation. They switched on the field and flung the Hyperborea towards the most distant destination they could target, Antarctica. What they did not realize was the bootstrap device traveled in time as well as in space, nor was it limited to one time or one location. The Hyperborea and the moment of its activation were stretched across time and space, between the nearly forgotten Lake Huron of the 9-hour Armageddon and the present-day Antarctic. It was pulled taut as an elastic band, vibrating, except where at certain points along its length one could still find spots, or points, like the harmonic spots along a vibrating guitar string. One of these harmonics was where we boarded, but the string ran forward and back, in both time and space, and we were soon pulled in every direction ourselves. So basically what happens here is that the Hyperborea, with its bootstrap device activated, it travels between different time things, and you can like see the different things that happened in between Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2, I'm assuming. So basically it goes through space and time, with time travel and shit. All this science fiction stuff that is so hard to explain. Time grew confused. Looking from the bridge, we could see the dry docks of Toxin Island, or Aperture Science. Just as the Desperate forces closed in from land, sea, and air. At the same time, we could see the Antarctic wastelands, where our friends were fighting to make their way to the protein Hyperborea. And in addition, glimpses of other worlds somewhere in the future perhaps, or even in the past. Alex grew convinced we were seeing one of the Desperate's central staging areas for invading other worlds, such as our own. We meanwhile fought a running battle throughout the ship. Pursued by Desperate forces, we struggled to understand our situation, and to agree on our course of action. Could we alter the course of the Hyperborea? Should we run it aground in the Antarctic, giving our peers a chance to study it? Should we destroy it with all hands aboard, our own included? It was impossible to hold a coherent thought, given the baffling and paradoxical time loops, which passed through the ship like bubbles. I felt like I was going mad, that we were all there confronting myriad versions of ourselves. In that ship that was half ghost ship and half nightmare funhouse. So basically everything is just fucking like taking LSD in there. What it came down to, at last, was a choice. Jerry Moz argued, reasonably, that we should save the Hyperborea and deliver it to the Resistance, that our intelligent peers might study and harness its power, but Alex reminded me, had sworn he would honor his mother's demand, that we destroy the ship. He hatched a plan to set the Hyperborea to self-destruct, while riding into the heart of the Desperate's invasion nexus. Jerry and Alex argued. Jerry overpowered Alex and brought the Hyperborea area, preparing to shut off the bootstrap device and settle the ship on the ice. That rhymed. And then I heard a shot, and Jerry fell. Alex had decided for all of us, or his weapon had. With Dr. Moss dead, we were committed to the suicide plunge. Grimly, Alex and I armed the Hyperborea, creating a time-traveling missile, and steered it for the heart of the Desperate's command center. So what they're doing here, I'm assuming, is that they're now trying to commit suicide, but basically trying to save the whole world at the same time. Well, trying to commit suicide for a good reason. At this point, as you will no doubt be unsurprised to hear, a certain sinister figure appeared, in the form of that sneering trickster, Mrs. X. So that's the G-Man, right? For once, she appeared not to me, but to Alex Vaughn. Alex had not seen the cryptical schoolmarm since childhood, but he recognized her instantly. "Come along with me now. We have places to do and things to be," said Mrs. X, and Alex acquiesced. What? I've never heard that word before. Sorry for that. He followed the strange gray lady out of the Hyperborea, out of our reality. For me, there was no convenient door held open. Only a snicker and a sideways glance. I was left alone, riding the weaponized luxury liner into the heart of a Desperate world. An immense light blazed. I caught a cosmic view of a brilliantly glittering Dyson sphere. The vastness of the Desperate's power, the futility of our struggle, blossomed briefly in my awareness. I saw everything. Mainly I saw how the Hyperborea, our most powerful weapon, would register as less than a fizzling matchhead as it blew itself apart. And what remained of me would be even less than that. But just then, as she'd surely already foreseen, my mom called me. Just then, as she surely had already foreseen, the ghastly haunts parted their own checkered curtains of reality, reached in as they had on prior occasions, and plucked me out, and set me aside. I barely even got to see the fireworks begin. And here we are. I spoke of my return to the shore. It has been a circuitous path to lands I once knew, and surprising to see how much the terrain has changed. Enough time has passed that only few remember me, or what I was saying when I last spoke, or what precisely we hope to accomplish. At this point, the resistance will have failed or succeeded. No thanks to me. Old friends have been silenced or fallen by the wayside. I no longer know or recognize most members of the research team, though I believe the spirit of the rebellion still persists. I expect you know better than I the appropriate course of action, and I leave you to it. Expect no further correspondence from me regarding these matters. This is my final episode. Yours in infinite finality, Gordon Freeman, PhD. Fuck, this is weird. So that was the Half-Life series. Up until this point. I'm like actually kind of happy that all this shit went down as I started recording the Half-Life Let's Play series. Like, when I started recording Half-Life 1 back in like July, I never thought all this shit would go down during the next 2 months. Like, it could not have been more perfectly timed. Like, all this shit happening, like, I'm so happy that, you know, all this shit happened throughout me recording Half-Life. Because then I could just instantly go and read this afterwards. Like, I'm so fucking happy that I could do that and not experience the same thing that people experienced like 10 years ago with that fucking cliffhanger back in episode 2. Jesus Christ. What a fucking paragraph here. That is what gets me. Marc Laidlaw, he talked about this being a fan fiction, so it was not official canon. Which, you know, believe in anything you want, but I personally think that this is the story. Like, we have concept art that can like be put next to this, and it would all fit together. Like, there's concept art released and stuff like that. Like, I feel like this is it. I'm so happy that I don't get to experience the same thing that people experienced 10 years ago. So it's great to have closure on the story. So that was Half-Life, the series. I'll be moving on to Portal 2 in a bit. And, yeah, thank you, Mr. Laidlaw, for doing all this. And, it's been a fucking weird 2 months for Valve, huh? That's it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.